In this video, I'll be showing you how to complete the square to solve quadratic equations. So in these types of questions, you'll be given a particular quadratic equation and you'll be told to solve it by completing the square. So completing the square is a particular method which I'll now show you. The first step in these questions is to ensure that the coefficient of x squared is 1, which in this example it is. However, if the coefficient of x squared was, say, 2 or any other value other than 1, there would be another step that we'd have to do first. We'd first have to get rid of this coefficient of x squared by dividing each term by that coefficient, which in this case is 2. And that would leave us with x squared as the with x squared having 1 as the coefficient. But in our example, we have 1 as the coefficient of x squared already, so we can jump to the next step. That next step is to first take the constant, which in this case is minus 5, over to the other side. So minus 5 becomes positive 5 because we're taking it over. The next step then is to take our coefficient of x, which is minus 4, and we're going to halve this value, so divide it by 2. This is equal to negative 2. We then square that answer, which will then give us 4. This value is a value that we're going to then add to both sides of the equation. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 5 plus 4. So we've added that to both sides, and we do that because we want to keep it balanced. What we do to the one side, we do to the other side. Our next step then is to factorize this trinomial into a bracket. So it's going to come out as a square bracket. On this side we can quickly solve. 5 plus 4 is 9. So it's going to be x and then something that will give us a value that gets back to this trinomial. The value that goes in this bracket over here is this value that we've worked out over here before we square it, which in this case is negative 2. So you can fill that value in. Now we've got a square equals a square. Now the next step, we want to solve for x. So our next step will be to square root both sides. So you square rooting this side, you square rooting this side. An important aspect that you have to put in when you're squaring both sides is on this side you have to put a plus minus in front of that square root of 9. That's because this bracket can have an x value which is positive or negative. So we have to represent that on this side as well. So the square root sign cancels with that square sign, so we're left with x minus 2 is equal to plus minus, and solve for the root of 9, which is 3. This becomes now a simple equation to solve. We're going to take over that minus 2 to the other side, which becomes positive 2. We're going to retain that plus minus 3. Now we can do these two as separate. We're going to go 2 plus 3 and we're going to go 2 minus 3. So, therefore, x is equal to 2 plus 3, or x is equal to 2 minus 3. So x is equal to 5, or x is equal to minus 1. These are your two answers. So, in summary, I will put this in red. Your steps are to first make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. X squared must be alone, meaning no coefficient. So you'd first have to divide each term by whatever the coefficient of x squared is. The next step is to move the constant over, which in this case was our 5. The next step then is to take half your coefficient of x and then square that answer, which is what we did in this step above here by the star. I'll put a star there. We then take that value and we add it to both sides. Take value to both sides, plus to both sides. Our next step is to make a bracket, which is factorizing of that trinomial. And then finally to solve. But remember, when you solve, to have the plus minus